Rinse, wash, and repeat is all too often the name of the game when it comes to the world of TV show productions. Even though there are plenty of original shows out there, there are moments when you can't help but feel like television is just regurgitating the same old stagnant energy, banking on the past success of various shows. The fact of the matter is, remakes and rip-offs have been an integral part of the industry since the dawn of TV. Whatever old original series you're thinking about at the moment, chances are likely some of them were actually derivative works themselves. That doesn't mean they're bad shows, quite the opposite. Many of these series are highly regarded by critics and audiences alike. What shows are we talking about? Well, the programs we're about to discuss might come as a surprise to you. So keep watching to learn about 8 TV shows you probably didn't realize were shameless rip-offs of other series. I Love Lucy. It might be difficult to believe, but one of the most influential American sitcoms in history, I Love Lucy, wasn't originally made for TV. It was actually an adaptation of a CBS radio sitcom called My Favorite Husband, which was broadcast between 1948 and 51. The serial also starred Lucille Ball as the female lead. The show basically served as a training ground of sorts for Lucy Ricardo's famous mannerisms, catchphrases, and idiosyncrasies. My Favorite Husband featured many of the same writers who went on to work with I Love Lucy as well. In fact, Jess Oppenheimer, Madeline Pugh, and Bob Carroll Jr. later reworked many of their favorite My Favorite Husband scripts into later episodes of I Love Lucy, most of which were in the series' first 2 seasons. I Love Lucy wasn't the only TV sitcom with its roots in radio either. Many popular 50s shows like Dragnet, Father Knows Best, and Ozzie and Harriet were also based on radio programs. Both I Love Lucy and My Favorite Husband share essentially the same premise, with Lucille playing the wacky housewife who's always coming up with some kind of oddball scheme that gets thwarted by her foil of a husband. But that's where the similarities end. In My Favorite Husband, Ball's character was named Liz Cooper, and she was married to a white middle-class businessman named George Cooper. When CBS decided they wanted to transform My Favorite Husband into a TV series, Ball agreed to reprise her role as long as her on-screen husband could be played by her real-life husband, Desi Arnaz. The network was apprehensive at first to show an interracial couple on one of their shows, but Ball refused to back down, and eventually they agreed to her terms. Hey, if you're enjoying this video so far, be sure to give it a like, and stay tuned to learn about the surprising origins of shows like All in the Family and Three's Company. The Flintstones. Despite becoming a cultural phenomenon that birthed all sorts of memorabilia, spin-offs, and even its own line of vitamins, the animated classic Hanna-Barbera series The Flintstones was actually based on another classic sitcom, The Honeymooners, starring and created by Jackie Gleason. The Honeymooners itself was based on a series of radio and TV sketches. It featured a duo of urban working-class couples, the Cramdens and the Nortons, who go through their daily routines while encountering all sorts of fairly benign troubles and wonky schemes. The Flintstones and the Rubbles were essentially the Stone Age counterparts to the Cramdens and Nortons. Ralph was adapted into Fred, Ed was Barney, Alice was Wilma, and Trixie was Betty. In fact, if you watch back-to-back episodes of The Honeymooners and Flintstones, you'll pick up on all the obvious similarities between the two shows. All in the Family. Norman Lear's iconic sitcom All in the Family is about a working-class white family living in Queens. The head of the family, Archie Bunker, was an outspoken bigot who seemingly hated everyone who didn't think as he did. His wife Edith was a sweet yet naive person who Archie routinely referred to as a dingbat. They had one child together, Gloria, who was generally speaking kind and well-intentioned like her mother, but exhibited some of her father's stubbornness and temper. Unlike her parents, Gloria was a feminist. She was married to a liberal graduate student named Michael Stivic, who Archie routinely refers to as Meathead. All in the Family was actually inspired by a British series called Till Death Do Us Part, which aired on BBC One from 1965 to 75. That series, which was created by Johnny Spate, featured a family living in London's East End, headed by the equally grouchy, conservative patriarch Alf Garnett, who held deeply anti-socialist views. His gentle and ever-patient wife Elsa and his daughter Rita were essentially carbon copies of Edith and Gloria. Rita's husband, Mike Rolland, was a socialist slacker from Liverpool who often got into arguments with Alf over his views in politics. So yeah, All in the Family was pretty much just a clone of that series, reimagined to appeal to the American audience. Sanford and Son. This memorable sitcom was all about a cranky junk dealer named Fred Sanford, played by Red Fox, and his son Lamont, portrayed by Damon Wilson, who own and operate a salvage shop in South Central LA. Most of the time, they focus their efforts on some kind of ill-fated get-rich scheme, but the show's most compelling element was arguably the addition of LaWanda Page as Aunt Esther, Fred's sister-in-law and primary antagonist. As he had done with All in the Family, Norman Lear based Sanford and Son on a British comedy, Ray Galton and Alan Simpson's Steptoe and Son. That series, which appeared on the BBC, was a sitcom about rag and bone dealers Albert and Harold Steptoe. The older of the two served as the template for what later became Fred Sanford, and was played by Irish actor Wilfrid Bramble. Three's Company. Three's Company was all about the antics of three single young adults living together platonically in an apartment. You had the ever-clumsy chef, Jack Tripper, played by John Ritter, the down-to-earth florist, Janet Wood, played by Joyce DeWitt, and the ditzy blonde stereotype secretary, Chrissy Snow, played by Suzanne Summers. This co-ed living situation might not raise any eyebrows in today's world, but when Three's Company hit the airwaves, the idea of an unmarried man and woman living together was considered fairly controversial. So when you had three young, attractive people living together in such a situation, you can only imagine what people thought. The show chronicled the escapades of the trio's constant misunderstandings, financial problems, and social lives. While it seemed fresh and original when it aired on ABC in 1977, it was actually based on a British sitcom, Man About the House, that ran from 1973 to 76, which shared a very similar concept and explored the same cultural taboos. Power Rangers. What you might think of as a distinctly American franchise, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, which debuted in 1993, was actually based on a Japanese science fiction superhero series called Super Sentai. Power Rangers was produced by Saban Entertainment and centered around a team of young teens recruited and trained by a mentor to morph into the eponymous heroes. They're given special powers and can pilot giant mechs called Zords to fend off a slew of villains. Much of the original footage shot for Super Sentai was reused for the American Power Rangers series. Pretty much every scene where the Rangers were either in their suits or in the mechs was taken directly from the original series, while the remaining scenes were reshot with American actors. Antiques Roadshow. This innocuous, family-friendly PBS series features local antique owners who bring their cherished items to be appraised by experts. There's an element of suspense because items that are believed to be quite valuable often turn out to be fakes, while seemingly worthless trinkets are sometimes found to be worth far more than their owners realize. The program is on its 24th season, and it's been nominated 16 times for Primetime Emmys. It's actually a clone of a show by the same name put out by the BBC, which first aired in 1977. WGBH-TV, the Boston, Massachusetts PBS affiliate station, created the American version of the show in 1996 under a license from the BBC. Starting in 2001, PBS began airing the original British version of Antiques Roadshow in the US, dubbing the program Antiques Roadshow UK. American Idol. Despite what the name implies, American Idol isn't a distinctly American sensation. The singing contest series was created by Simon Fuller in 2002 and is currently in its 19th season. The concept involves discovering stars from unsigned singing talents, with the winner determined by American viewers. But American Idol is just one of 46 regionalized adaptations of similarly formatted shows aired in 150 countries. The first Idol series was 2001's Pop Idol, which aired in the UK on ITV. The show was only around a couple seasons before Simon Cowell announced the launch of X Factor in April 2004, which subsequently also became an international sensation. Now it's time to hear from you. Does knowing these shows were not exactly original make you like them any less? Or do you love them just the same? Let us know in the comment section below. And before you go, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to Facts Verse if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.